If you found this video enjoyable, please leave a like and hell, even subscribe if you want to. It only takes 2 clicks, and push that notification bell just to get the messages for my videos. That would be greatly appreciated. When it comes to JoJo and its villains, I usually find them to be kind of mediocre or pretty okay, but in terms of part 5 and its majority cast of villains, I do find them pretty damn good. And a big part of that is Risotto Nero and his stand Metallica. I find Risotto to be a very highly in-depth character that doesn't really get much attention and love put into him by a majority of the fans and its creator. On Araki's part, you have to remember this was Shonen Jump back in the late 90s, and as we know, currently, as of today, working conditions and time constraints are a bitch at Shonen Jump. So fully writing out a side villain's story and giving them lore and putting a lot of appreciation and love into him, doesn't really work out during the writing process for Shonen Jump. And thanks to DP not animating Risotto's backstory, but animating La Squadra's kind of schemes and making them seem a little bit more personalized and human in the Part 5 anime, which I do appreciate, don't get me wrong. I just feel like it kind of sucks that we didn't get to see Risotto's in-depth and crazy good backstory. So I will always be forever salty that DP did not animate that, because it gives a lot of character and information on said character for his reasonings of what he is doing in said story, and well, it just makes him a lot better. In the manga, it was done okay. Araki just gave a paragraph to, give some insight on him, but I feel like if it was animated, it would have made him so much damn better, because I am of the opinion that the anime does do stuff better than the manga, excluding parts 1 and 2. I keep on mentioning this backstory, so let's finally jump into it. Risotto's backstory. So let me get my narration voice going here. When he was 14, his cousin once removed was struck and killed by a drunk driver. The driver was sentenced to several years in prison, but Risotto never forgave him. 4 years later, at the age of 18, he assassinated the driver. Thus, Risotto Nero began his life in the underworld. He became a stand user at the age of 21 and worked with his team to kill politicians, American gangsters, and anybody else who might pose a threat to Passion. However, the assassins who engage in such dirty work are only used once their services are required. They are never trusted by anyone else. The boss never allowed them to own any valuable turf, which caused Risotto to grow dissatisfied. As the boss expected, 2 members of the team began to investigate the boss's identity and were executed. Risotto Nero's team was kept on a tight leash afterwards, that is, until he learned of Trish, the boss's daughter. Well, I'm fairly impressed that I actually had a narrator voice. Moving on, Risotto's backstory is critically important for him, his character design, his personality, and his stand. I first want to talk about Risotto's character design because I feel like it's actually pretty critically important and a lot of people don't really know about its origins. Risotto is clearly based off of some type of court jester. Now, usually when people think of a court jester, they think of a fool, a man who just plays, jokes and pranks for the king. But you can also view it very literally. Risotto is a fool for 2 things: defying Diavolo and his court, or Passion, and 2, thinking that going into the underworld life was a good choice for him. And taking a look at the color palette the anime uses for Risotto, black and white is a great color choice, meaning 2 things. 1, either Risotto sees life as white and black, or he is a very deep and dark and mysterious character, which he is to a small degree being an assassin. But to transition into the character personality with the character design, we have to look at Risotto's eyes, because I think they're pretty damn critical for him. As the saying goes, the eyes are the gateway to the soul. And if we look at the color of Risotto's eyes, they are red and black. 2 very powerful and significant colors to the human psyche. The sclera is colored black, and black could represent many things, either emptiness, void, darkness, and overall just kind of bad vibes. While on the flip side, the iris of Risotto is colored red, which could mean love, rage, passion, aggression. But for Risotto, it most likely means rage and emptiness, due to his life experiences back when he was younger, being his cousin passing away and him becoming an assassin. Which now in retrospective is kind of really sad. Like, damn bro, I hope you get better. Well, you can't anymore, but You know what I get, like, I feel bad for him. But let's get something from the JoJo Velar. It has an ability that steals iron from your body, so I modeled it after cells or red blood cells maybe. And also the hat furs from the Moomins, I think that's how you pronounce it. I discussed whether it would be possible to make nails out of iron in the human body. And clearly, Araki said yes to that idea, and that's how we got Metallica. So with all that information out of the way, we can finally get into the stand, but before that, let's go into the song reference. So Metallica is clearly based off of the band Metallica, no dur, but it's more accurate to say that it comes from Metallica's third album, Master of Puppets, and even more specifically, the actual song Master of Puppets. The song can actually be decoded in two parts, the first half and the second half. The first half referencing a master of some kind controlling his puppets. You can honestly view this as Diavolo in the context of JoJo. And clearly from how the song's describing this said master, he is pure evil. This may or may not lead into kind of how Risotto views Diavolo. But as the guitars keep on riffing away and the drums drumming away, we eventually get the perspective of the puppet. And the puppet is beyond fed up. It wants its dreams, it wants the truths that the master has told him. And in the context of Risotto, yeah, he's had enough. He wants his dreams back. He wants the peak of what this life has given him. But clearly Diavolo has not done that at all. And referencing back to the backstory, yeah, that's clearly right. But the one difference between the song and the character is at the very end. At the very end of the song, it says that the puppet controls the master now. But as we all know, that does not clearly happen at all. Sadly, his revolt against the king does not work out in his favor. But you can also view the end as everybody in Passion defecting against Diavolo in some way, because Bruno's team does it, La Squadra does it, and if you want to count Purple Haze in some degree, there was already kind of something like that already kind of happening, so somebody did win in the end. So the last piece we're missing here is the actual stand. Does the stand connect back to the song? Well, yeah, pretty accurately actually. Metallica has three main abilities. One, being able to control iron in a 2-meter radius, having the ability to become invisible or almost transparent, and 3, the ability to control other stands if Metallica gets on top of another stand thanks to Risotto's blood. And if you caught that last ability, that's clearly a reference back to the song Master of Puppets, because, you know, once Metallica gains control of another stand, it is technically the master of said puppet. With all of these abilities and Risotto's credentials from back in the day, Risotto is a very, very powerful assassin and person in La Squadra. But that's not all. Since Metallica is a colonial stand, that means, well, Risotto has some really, really, really deep problems within himself. And that totally makes sense. His backstory clearly, you know, sums that up for us a lot. It totally makes sense why Risotto would have a colonial stand, because he has problems and he needs to solve them. But, you know, he clearly can't at this point. And you know what makes it even worse is the fact that Metallica is inside of Risotto, meaning that in some way or form, if you want to look at it, he's trying to fill in the void for himself, which you can't honestly do as a regular person. It takes time for you to heal as a person, and just filling, you know, your life with some type of meaning that doesn't truly have any meaning kind of sucks. It really shows you how much he loved his cousin and how bad his life has become. Not to also mention the fact that he's lost members of his gang, which you could consider a family unit of some kind or friend group, and losing them to a man that's already snuffing him out of money and land in the gang, you know, really makes you feel empty and nothing inside. And finally, my favorite highlight moment with Risotto, and the only highlight moment he actually has is with Diavolo / Doppio in their fight. TLDR, it's fucking amazing. They go head to head in this fight. Risotto uses all of his abilities in this fight to the absolute most extreme. His assassination skills, his use of how the human body works when there is a lack of iron in said body, the use of camouflage to get closer to his enemies, and his overall just badassness when using iron within his radius, which just makes him fucking awesome. Not to mention the fact that he actually heals himself by fusing his body parts back together with the iron in his body with Metallica, which is just fucking metal as all hell, and totally goes with, you know, Metallica's kind of rawness as a band to connect back with Risotto and Metallica. Well, that is the end of the video. I really do personally like Metallica a lot, and I really had fun making this video. So, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, stay hydrated. See you in the next one, ladies and gentlemen.